Okay, in this exercise we are asked to find the axes 0, 1, 4, and 6 for this configuration. Now, as a spoiler alert, there is a very fatal trap in this task. But let's begin. So, let's begin with axis 0. And for axis 0, we have to actually look for axis 1, because by definition they should line up as much as possible. We should also confirm that Q1 is 0, so in this case, axis 1 and axis 0 is perfectly aligned. And we know that the Z1 axis is right here, because it has to align with the rotation axis of Q1. And this is also Z0. For the x-axis, well, normally it would be the common normal between the two axes Z1 and Z3. No, Z1 and Z2. However, this is the special case where Z1 and Z2 cut each other. So we are free to choose the axis x1. Now, the axis x1 has to be chosen such that it is perpendicular to the z-axis, of course, but also such that it aligns with the other axis as much as possible. Also, well, if you just rely on being perpendicular to the z-axis, then there are a gazillion directions. But two directions that stand out is either this way, which is aligned with the z2 axis, and this way. So which one is it? Well, let's analyze the situation one by one. If we choose the axis x1 this way, then what is the angle between the x1 and x2? And remember, we want that to be possibly 0. And in this case, it's this angle, which is 90 degrees. And no matter how things move, it's still 90 degrees, which is bad. Well, maybe it's the best option we have, but do we have a better option? Well, actually we do, because in this direction, because this thing rotates, so there is a configuration where, you know, these x2 and x1 axes line up like so, and that would result in a 0 degree. So that means that this is the configuration that we have to choose. x1 to this direction and not to this direction. That is wrong. And now, since we have that, we can have y1, which according to the right hand rule would be this way. Okay, now let's move to, so we have 0 and 1 done. Let's move to axis 4, and this is where the trap comes in. We know that z4 is along this direction, this line right here. And we must also know that it could either point to the left or to the right, I don't know yet. But we have to look at the rotation of Q4. And remember, for the right hand rule to apply, this dictates that Z4 is in this direction and not the other direction. Now that we have Z4, where is X4? Well, X4 always point in the direction that connects Z4 and Z5, but in this case, Z4 and Z5 are interconnected. They cut each other. So we should choose the axis X4 in such a way that they align with axis X5 as much as possible. And that would be X4 right here. Now, that would dictate that the origin is right here, and that is the correct solution. The incorrect solution is to draw X4 to align with X3 right here. But that is wrong. Why? Well, I mean, you could think, and you could very well suspect, that we would choose X3, or whoever designs this would choose X3 to line up with X4 as much as possible. And that is a valid argument. However, X3 only lines up with X4 as much as possible when it is in the zeroed position. That is, Q3 has to be 0 in order for X3 and X4 to line up. And the fact is that we don't have Q3 equals 0 here. We only have Q5 and Q6 is 0. And we know for a fact that when Q5 is 0, then X5 and X4 completely aligns. And actually, if you want to solve this very quickly, this is a shortcut for you that just says when Q5 is 0, then we just have to copy whatever the 5th coordinate is for the 4th coordinate. So right here we have to draw actually X4 aligns with X5 and not X3. Now that we have done that, and that is out of the way, we can use the right hand rule to confirm that this is Y4. And now we have 4 done. 6, well, there is the similar solution. Since the number 6, the Z6 is obviously in the same direction as Z4, which is along this blue line. We also have to consider, this is a special case again, where the axis Z6 and the axis Z5 actually cuts. So we are free to choose wherever X6 is. And as a rule of thumb, we choose it so it aligns with the previous axis as much as possible, when provided that it is actually 0 in the free parameter. So X6 is exactly the same direction, and Z6 is the same direction, and here we also have Y6 in the same direction.